Okay, so can you guys see my grid over here to the side, or can you just see the PowerPoint? Harper, what can you see?
I can see a little bit of what are you talking about?
Can you
Like,
see all of your faces over here to the side, or just the PowerPoint?
just the PowerPoint.
Just the
I mean,
PowerPoint.
like I can see you down here, like in the corner, but that's it.
Okay.
You can't see the grid on the side.
Okay. Oh, all right. Great. All right, guys. So we are talking today about animal classification. Hopefully you guys have already gotten started, but let's just do an overview. Okay. So to be a part of the animal kingdom, an organism has to meet the following conditions. They have to be capable of breathing and moving around, and they cannot make their own food, and they have multiple cells. Okay? And if you think back to our animal and plant cell unit, you'll know that because plants, they make their own, or they cannot, or they do make their own food from photosynthesis, and a lot of them are single cellular organisms, whereas animals, they don't make their own food, they find their own food, and they are multicellular organisms. Okay, so this picture kind of gives us an overview of how we classify animals. We're going to make it a lot simpler in 5th grade. We don't have to go all in depth. You'll do that more in 7th grade for animal classification. But basically what you guys need to know is we're first going to classify animals between vertebrates and invertebrates. Okay, and then after that, we're not really going to touch invertebrates too much. There's a lot of different categories, and for those of you who like this part of science, then there's slideshows on the different categories of invertebrates, but we don't need to go too far into them. You just need to know that that's a part of the animal classification. We will go more in depth into vertebrates. They are going to be classified even further into warm-blooded and cold-blooded, and then even further to the different categories: mammals, birds, fish, reptiles, amphibians. All right, and you guys we've used classification in math when we're doing 2D shapes, classifying things. You may remember from 4th grade. We were supposed to do this in 5th grade, but haven't gotten to it yet. Classifying them into quadrilaterals, and then even further down. So classification is just a way of sorting things. All right, so here we go into the animal kingdom. And for those of you who have not maybe gotten started on your slideshow, you need to finish it today and tomorrow. We started it on Tuesday. You need to finish it today and tomorrow, and I'll put a link up to submit it. But like on here, it'll say click on the organism to learn more, and it'll send you to a video if you click on it. Okay, so animal classification. Scientists classify or sort animals into groups according to their characteristics. Scientists classify organisms to better understand the relationship between them. Classifying also allows everyone to identify and name organisms. One classification depends on whether or not an animal has a backbone. Okay, so this is the big one that we're going to focus on. If you have a backbone, if an animal has a backbone, it is called a vertebrate. If it does not have a backbone, it is called an invertebrate. Okay, so that's the 2 categories: backbone, vertebrate; no backbone, invertebrate. All right. Mammals, birds, fish, reptiles, and amphibians are all classified into the vertebrate category because they have a backbone. All right. Then, after we classify between vertebrate and invertebrate, we're going to take the vertebrates and classify them even further into 2 categories: warm-blooded and cold-blooded. All right. So warm-blooded animals literally means that they can maintain their own body temperature. So regardless of the temperature in the environment, a warm-blooded animal can control their body temperature. And that's going to be mammals and birds. Cold-blooded cannot maintain their body temperature. So when the temperature in the environment changes, so does the body temperature of the cold-blooded animal. So this is fish, amphibians, and reptiles. All right. Let me move these down. All right. So if we were going to classify these, let me see. If I were to take this fish, this is what I want you to do. I want you to put up a C if you think it's warm-blooded. I mean, a C if it's cold-blooded, and a W if it's warm-blooded. All right. So if I'm going to take the fish and classify it, where would it go? Let me see. C, exactly. The goat. Queen, I see a W. Awesome. A frog. C or W? C. Cold-blooded. A chicken. Warm-blooded. Awesome, Harper. KK, I see your hands. All right. Skunk. Warm-blooded. Awesome, Nathan. Lion. EJ, I see your hand. Warm-blooded. All right, a crocodile or alligator. Cold-blooded. And then a snake, which I hate. Cold-blooded. Awesome. All right, moving along. Okay. Now, I'm not going to read all of this because you guys can do that, and hopefully you already have if you've already gotten started. But this is an overview of mammals, all right? So now we're classifying them even further. These all fall under the vertebrates. They have a backbone, all right? So mammals. Mammals are warm-blooded. They breathe through their lungs. Big thing about mammals that separates them, they give birth to live young. That means that they're alive. Like when this deer, if it were to give birth to a baby, it would already be alive. It would not be an egg. Okay? So that's like your dogs, your cats. They don't give birth to eggs. They give birth to already alive kittens and puppies. Birds, they lay eggs and they have 2 feet. That's one big thing that's different about birds. They have feathers and wings. Fish. One big thing about fish is that they live in water. They breathe through their gills and have scales. Reptiles. Is Travis on here? Travis did his 4-H on reptiles. He loves reptiles. Jana, you studied a little bit about reptiles too. I know Jana likes reptiles as well. They breathe through their lungs. They have ear holes and not ears. So you're not going to see a snake sliming around with ears. You're going to see them have ear holes. They sometimes, this is interesting about them, sometimes they have a live young and sometimes they lay eggs. But a big thing about them is that they have dry, scaly skin. And then lastly, amphibians, okay? They have 4 legs, they lay eggs, and they have moist, smooth skins, all right? So now, if we were to classify these, let's take one of each. So when you do it at home, you should have 2 under each category. Okay, so I'm just gonna pick one. Where would this chicken go? Under what? I can see you mouthing it. Under, Naomi, I see you. Birds, exactly. All right, what about this? Frog, where would it go? Ooh, amphibians. Now this is reptiles and amphibians. I still sometimes have to look up some of the animals because it can be a little bit confusing because there's a fine line between them. A lot of them look the same, but there might just be a little difference between them. All right. What about a snake? What does it go under? Queen, I see your mouth. Reptiles, awesome. Fish are pretty easy because it's a fish. And then lastly, this lion would go under mammals. I see you, Harper. Awesome. Okay. And so you guys can sort the last ones at home as well. And I'll post this video so you'll have the answers to these if you want to go back if you don't know. Okay? All right, what does not belong? I am going to have to take a quick phone call. My doctor is supposed to be calling me. So I'm going to leave this screen up. It'll take me about 5 minutes. I want you guys to go ahead and figure out what does not belong in this category. Miss Anderson, I'm going to unmute you in case it takes me a little bit longer. It shouldn't. And you guys go ahead and figure out what does not belong. And I want you to write down why it doesn't belong so that you can go ahead and fill in your answers on your slideshow.
Do you want them to answer maybe in the chat so then when we get back we can?
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you can hear me, just nod your head because I know you're all muted. That's fine. So in the on the first row, it looks like it is, I think it's a turtle I'm trying to see. And then it looks like an elephant. Is it a turtle? Yes. And then it's an elephant. And then I think I see a pig. Go ahead and put in the chat, which one do you think does not belong? Oh no, it says, why does the animal not belong? It says, use the information, which animal does not seem to belong in the group by placing the X. We won't do that. But you have to say which animal and why. So in the first one, go ahead and type in the chat. Is that a turtle? It's hard for me to tell. It looks like a turtle. An animal or a pig. Tell me what animal does it belong, but then say why. Say, because that animal is a blank and the other two are what? Go ahead and type that in the chat. In that first row, which one does not belong? All right, so Sydney put the crab or the turtle doesn't belong because it's not a mammal like the elephant or the pig. Good. The turtle because it is a reptile and the other two are mammals. Good. Anybody else have an idea? Well, they're right. And I guess it's a lot to type. Yeah, turtle because it's reptile. The other two are mammals. Good. Because the elephant and the pig, they're mammals. That means they give birth to live babies. And that's why they're mammals. So that's the difference in those two. All right, let's look at the next row. We have a frog, and we have a school of fish, and then we have a bird. Which one does not belong in that row? And then tell me why. Type it in the chat. So you have the frog, you have the fish, and then you have a bird. Tell me which one does not belong and why. That was a tricky one. I'll give you a couple of minutes. Don't draw on the screen though, okay? Thank you. This is really, 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 really tricky. Okay, does anybody else want to have an idea? So this one's really tricky. Okay, so you know a frog is a what? Type it in the chat really quickly. A frog is classified as a what? You don't have to worry about the spelling. All right, so Sydney said a frog is an amphibian. Good, great. Nathan, right. All right, the fish, we know that's a classification of what? Fish or what? We don't even have to try to figure that one out. Fish or what? Okay. All right. So then the bird is interesting because birds came from and derived from actually a while back from reptiles, which I know that doesn't seem right, but if you look back on the history of them, that's where they derived from. So in Ryland's, like, the bird is warm-blooded, that's the odd one. And so Ryland they are a warm-blooded. And what's interesting though is they, like I said, from a long time way back, birds actually kind of derived in from their ancestors as a reptile, but their classification is strange. So that would be the distinction, I would say, of the two, like Ryland was saying, just based on their blood. And that is definitely a weird one. So yes, very interesting. Birds don't have gills. Interesting, good. I like that. I like that classification to separate those two. Anybody else have another thought before we move on to the next one? It's not necessarily that they're fish, because there's only one that's considered a fish. Birds have wings, that's true, good. All right, so let's go down to the last one. It's hard for Ms. Anderson to see what that thing is in the bottom. I can't tell. Can anybody tell what that first one is in the bottom? And type it in the chat. It's hard for me to make it out. It's a snake? Oh, okay, well, I'm out for that. So we have a snake, and it looks like another type of bird, and a zebra. Which one of those does not belong? Which one of those does not belong? So, okay, several people have typed the snake. Oh, somebody added that the bird is a roadrunner. Interesting. Zion says zebras give birth to live animals. Sydney also said the zebra because they have live babies. So they're a mammal. All right, anybody else have an idea? Snake is cold-blooded. Okay. The snake because it's a reptile. So we have a couple people who think it's the zebra, and we have a couple people think it's the snake. We need a couple more people to kind of weigh in. The bird because it gives birth to live babies. Well, birds actually lay eggs. But that was a good idea. Ryland says the zebra and the bird are warm-blooded, but the snake is cold-blooded. Good observation, Ryland. Quinn said the snake is a reptile. And Skylar added about the zebra. Okay, so we had one idea from Ryland about that the bird and the zebra were both warm-blooded, and then a couple of you noted about the snake being a reptile. So I don't know if we all came to an agreement on that one. Do anybody else have an idea? Michaela, have you typed yours in? Did you have an idea? I may have missed it if you typed it. That's a tricky one. Has everybody had a chance to weigh in? Let me look back at the chat. Let me see. All right, zebra, live animals. Snake is cold-blooded. The snake. Zion, you said the snake. Did you say why? Did you type why you didn't think the snake belonged? Can you elaborate, Zion, on why you think the snake But then you also put the zebra.
I said zebra.
Oh, okay. Up here, I thought it said, oh, up here it says also snake. You changed your mind?
No, I said snake because you was asking what animal that was.
Oh, I got you. Okay, Zion, you say zebra because of the giving birth to live animals. Okay, so Genesis, oh, Genesis just added cold-blooded. Genesis, which one were you saying that about the snake? See if I can unmute you. No, I can't unmute you. Were you
Yes.
saying that, Genesis, about the snake? Okay, awesome.
Yes.
Okay, so that one, yeah, so I think most people are saying, let me see if I can go back and look. It's kind of torn between it looks like most people are saying this, I don't know, it's still like almost a tie between the zebra and the snake. Maybe if a couple more people. Oh, Emma says snake. Emma, can you elaborate why you think snake? Can you type it in? Why? We have kind of almost like a tie. Almost a tie on that. Y'all have some good ideas. I'm just trying to think. Okay, Emma says, I think it is because a snake is a reptile and a zebra and bird are not. Okay. Sydney, you added the zebra. And Sydney, did you already put in the chat why you thought that? I'm going to see if I can scroll up and see. Okay, yeah, you had said because zebra have live babies unlike the others. Okay. Anybody have any more thoughts on that? And somebody commented that they thought that bird was a road runner.
It was me.
Oh, how do you know that, Quinn? Can you tell me how you noticed that?
I have a whole animal book in my room, so I know each and every one of the animals.
Oh, how interesting. Oh, okay, since I can't see the picture of the snake very well, is anybody able to tell what kind of snake they think that is? Because I can't see the picture that great. Are you able to look at the snake and see if you have a guess about what kind of snake it could be? Quinn has an idea about a boa. Oh, why do you think it's a boa, Quinn?
I kind of think it's a boa because of the stripes on his back, on his scales.
Okay, I gotcha. Anybody else? Boas normally coil around their prey, which is how they capture them and then end up killing them so they can consume them. They usually coil around them and constrict them and squeeze them. So I can't tell about that one, what it's doing and what it looks like. Okay, so it looks like it is 12:30. I know Miss Lacey wanted to leave this at about 30 minutes so she could have it on YouTube. Hi, Miss Lacey.
Thank you so much.
Try to end it because we're at that 30-minute mark.
Yes. Sorry, guys. Were y'all able to do this slideshow?
We did. It was kind of a on the last slide. We were half and half on whether it was the bird or wait a minute. The last one just changed. The last one had a snake there and a zebra. It didn't have two birds. When you clicked something, it changed. Yeah.
There we go.
So there was half and half whether it was the snake that didn't belong or the zebra. So we couldn't really come to a consensus.
Actually, guys, I would say it would be the zebra because the zebra, not the zebra, it would be the snake because zebras are mammals and then birds are birds and they're both warm-blooded.
Yeah, and Rylan kind of said that early on and a couple more people did as well. And then a couple
Awesome.
ideas about zebras giving birth to live young. So,
Yep.
but yeah, they had a lot of good ideas though on all of those. A lot of
Awesome.
good explanations.
Thank you so much, Miss Anderson. I'm sorry that
Oh,
it took
that was
10
no
minutes
problem.
instead of 5. All right, guys. So hopefully you're able to see how to do that. You just drag your X down and then write it in the box why it doesn't belong. And then before we finish out, the last thing I will say is that the invertebrates, these next slides, you can absolutely kind of skip through these that are explaining each one unless you're interested in it. I just left them in there in case you were interested, but you don't have to know all of those. Really, you just need to know the invertebrates do not have a backbone. And then this one is going to be a sort, and you're just kind of sorting them into the 2 categories. Everything we discussed before I left were vertebrates, okay? Mammals, birds, fish, amphibians, reptiles. And then the rest are invertebrates. And then we'll go through these 2, and then I'll let you go. These are, who could it be? It's going to give you an explanation here, and you need to write who is being described. Now, not what animal, not a tiger. You would say a mammal. Okay, so you write that there. This video will help you for review. Harper, question.
So you said 1 through 17, is that
That is, the whole slideshow is 17 slides. I mean, the first day, Tuesday, I gave you 1 through 17, and then for the rest of the week, you're just gonna finish the slideshow. But there's really only like 6 interactive slides on here. The rest of them are just information.
okay?
This one, 2 truths and a lie, all you're going to do is put an X over the lie. Okay, so I'll go ahead and give you the answer for number 2. Mammals are not best known for laying eggs, so you'll put the X over that. Okay, this one is just your opinion. Why do you feel scientists classify animals? And you're just going to type it in the box. And then the last one is going to be kind of a diagram, and you're just going to drag it. Drag the different tiles. Okay, does that make sense? Awesome. All right, guys. Well, let me open up to any questions you have before we go. So let me stop sharing my screen. And let's see. What questions do you have, guys? Raise your hand and I'll call. Anybody?
Not me.
Who's me? I can't see your hand if it's you. Okay, I don't see any. All right, well, hopefully that all made sense to you. And
But where do we even go?
all right, don't see any hands. Okay, well, guys, I will see you later. Please reach out to me if you have any questions. And I will post a Google form for you to submit it tomorrow. All right?
Yeah.
Shouldn't be too much work because most of them are just information. So good luck, and I will
Because
talk to you
Easter's
later.
coming up.
Okay?
That's why I said it.
Bye, guys.
Bye.